stand for fantasy football franchise. Talking about that guy, Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Ho in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street. Boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
Nick, quit catching raisins.
Yeah, I was catching raisins in my mouth.
He was trying
I was
to.
trying to.
We have new-time listeners really confused.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. My name is Nick Sigmund. With me, as always, is Tyler Bo Gee and Jonathan Michael Robertson.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
A.K.A. Lord of the Raisins over here.
Lord of the Raisins.
I'm eating around the raisins.
Oh, so
Man,
you're
those
not
are
eating the raisins?
those are super salty. I guess just because of the peanuts in there. Do you got some? Oh,
Can you
you got M&Ms?
Can you make wine out of raisins?
Well, they are
like-
grapes.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Probably not. They have
Because
no
there's
juice.
no juice. Yeah,
I mean, they got a little juice, don't they?
that's what she said.
Is it kind of like Adrian Peterson?
Eat one.
Is that what Adrian Peterson is?
kind of Frank Gore?
Yeah, it's more like Frank Gore. You know,
No, it would not exist if it was Frank Gore.
it would definitely exist if it was Frank Gore.
Oh, they're salty. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're getting into the season, and
I couldn't eat
there's
this.
there's going to be a lot of content for these weeks. You know, there's start
Swallow.
sits, there's
Swallow.
recaps the week before. So what we're going to do is
about
we're going to
me.
have 2 episodes a week, but we're going to record it on one day. And now you're like, what? It's just difficult to sit through an hour and a half. I can't do it. I can barely sit through a movie for an hour and a half.
I have ADHD.
So we're going to split it into 2 sections. We're going to have a recap and then like a waiver wire, and then we're going to have a pre-weekend, this is what you got to do.
Start sits, streams, all this. And we're gonna have some fun little segments. You know, still our blunder with the numbers and making fun of each other and trying to make wine out of raisins. You know, the usual. And of course, all of this is going to be brought to you on YouTube. So please be sure to subscribe. You see them throwing crap at each other right now.
Like feeding the geese.
Could you not?
Feeding the geese over here.
All right, we're just going to get into the news.
The fantasy news.
This is almost the biggest news week we've had in a while.
Oh,
Because
man.
everyone's like, who's starting? Oh my gosh, this guy's starting.
Give them the newsies.
Give it to him.
Well, I mean, let's talk about this. Jonathan's boy Royce Freeman. Listen, I mean, we have to start off a podcast like this.
Yeah.
Is named the starter. I know.
Yeah.
Everybody, grab your surprise bib, and just
I mean,
look.
Booker's the PPR. I'm not even gonna say PPR guy. I don't think he's gonna be a person you can start, but he will get some of the passing.
Do you feel like the coach said book him whenever he got the second string, or no? All right.
I heard he can fit 4 cups of water in each hand.
Booker?
when he takes it to the team.
All right. So I mean, no surprise there. I mean, I've never been a Booker. I mean, the biggest question here though is, do you start Royce Freeman?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because who do they play in the first week? Is it
Seattle.
Seattle.
But they also, I mean, their team is kind of falling apart
Their
defensively.
defense is porous.
They're not just poor; they are porous.
It's just falling apart to the point that I don't have a problem playing against Seattle. And I think Seattle's honestly deteriorating to a point where it's hard to be fantasy relevant almost.
I know, and here's the thing, guys. Listen, I know last year, according to Football Outsiders, Seattle was the 13th ranked defense last year, but they've lost a lot of pieces.
They had a retirement, a holdout.
Yeah.
Some people left.
It was
Like
it
a
was
bad company.
It was
the
a
12th
mosh
man
pit.
retired.
There's like 11 and a half men now.
Yeah.
This sounds like a show.
Another guy, Foles, was named the starter, even though he and Wentz are apparently somewhat injured.
Yeah. Question. So, how long do you think Carson Wentz doesn't play?
I'd say week 3 he'll be back.
I think we asked this question with Andrew Luck.
Yeah,
Don't
it was
you go
different.
there.
It was different. I mean, I don't.
I mean, at least Carson Wentz is throwing the ball, but
But it's a knee, not a. I don't know. It's just this different thing. Here's the thing that I worry about. So Thursday they play the Falcons. He's already been benched. Obviously he's hurt. Why? The next week, okay, if I'm reading this correctly, they play the Buccaneers, which their passing defense in the past has been.
We will see.
Yeah. Then they play the Colts. I mean, I just do you need to rush them in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you play the Buccaneers, you play the Colts, and then the next one is the Titans. And I know you like the Titans, Jonathan, but I'm just saying, like, they also, too, have not had the best. Like, do you really need to rush him in?
Well, the Colts will be a shootout. Here's the thing, though. Nick Foles is not terrible. He
I don't think it'll be a
basically
shootout.
won a Super Bowl for them.
The Eagles' defense is good. Andrew Luck and that offensive line. I'm sorry, but I said this before. I was talking about Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton on Twitter with somebody. They're like, well, now that they fixed the offensive line, whoa.
They didn't.
They
We thought they
drafted
did.
people. They drafted people, and yes, there was an attempt to make it better. But from what I've seen on preseason, it has not gotten better. Now, it could. The reminiscence of things getting better, and it's preseason. But I was not, like, overly impressed. I saw the same Andrew Luck running
Didn't
for
look
his
good.
life.
Chuck.
Here's what worries me. Back to topic. Nick, turn me up. This is what worries me. The first game against the Atlanta Falcons. This is not just a team. This is a good team. This is a team that always vies for a playoff spot.
I mean, I think it's going to be a rough game. I do. I mean,
But if Carson Wentz was at all ready to go, they would have sent him in. I mean, they're playing him against the Falcons. Some of those other games you mentioned, yes. Number 1, 2 out of 4 of those AFC matchups. Bucks. Don't really have to care about
Nick
it.
is so mad.
But the thing about it is, against the Falcons, an NFC rival who vies for a playoff spot, who they could come down to wild card. If the Eagles are fighting for the wild card, there could be a chance that the Falcons are too. You want that win. So
I agree, but at the same time, I understand where they're coming from, and the fact that I don't want to get a win and then risk ruining my franchise, because Carson Wentz still young. And you want to talk about a guy that could be there from the day he retires. I could see Carson Wentz doing that. And I mean, why ruin your franchise to get a win? So I agree. I'm a lot more concerned about it, but I will say this. Carson Wentz's ADP has dropped, and I'm almost okay taking him in redraft leagues. If you haven't drafted yet, if you're one of those people literally like the day before you're drafting, or if you're trading for him, I don't know.
Today.
I'm almost fine getting him because I can just stream bums until we get there. Like, I will stream, like, we'll talk about our streams in the next episode, or is it this one? I don't know. One of the episodes, we're talking about our streams, and they're great streamable options until Carson Wentz comes to fruition, and I think he can make a difference. But let's move on.
So, McCoy, thankfully, someone on the Bills team is playable. He is not on the commissioner's exempt list, so we have a LaShawn McCoy to play with. Yes.
I
said it like that.
I will say this, though. I would tamper my expectations.
Nope.
You have to play.
Nope.
You have to play him. I mean, it's LaShawn McCoy. He's going to be a workhorse, but they are just not looking good. They're playing the Ravens, who last year had a very good defense. I forget what it was, but they 9th in rushing rank, number 2 in passing rank. I mean, you've got a guy. I think was it Nathan Peterman or Josh Allen at the start? I'm not sure.
Nathan
Peterman.
Peterman. Okay, this guy threw 5 interceptions in a game. I mean,
Yeah.
I just an O-line falling
I mean,
apart.
the Ravens are supposed to win by at least a touchdown. So I'm not saying
and I would not be surprised if one of those isn't a
McCoy,
defensive touchdown.
I'm not saying that LaShawn McCoy and the Bills are going to win. I'm saying LaShawn McCoy is the only weapon they have.
No, I mean,
the Ravens
you
did
don't
give up.
bench him.
They did give up 19.2 points per game last year to the running back.
Okay.
So, just asterisk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you don't bench him. You have to play him. If he's playing, you play LaShawn McCoy. I mean, the volume mandates it. But I'm
he
not.
demands it.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, we probably should. Once I get the news up. Okay. Hunter Henry is on the PUP list. I saw something about this. I didn't read it. Did you guys read it?
I mean, all I said was that all I saw was a tweet that said it was awfully curious that the Chargers put Hunter Henry on the PUP list
I
and
think
not
it's because
IR.
he tore his ACL so early in the summer that he does have the possibility to return.
That's interesting.
It's not like during the season, 16
for
weeks, you're
redraft,
done.
just keep your eyes on it. I don't think I'm going to stash him, especially if I have a small bench.
It's not worth it.
But it's just not. I mean, but he is somebody that you cannot forget about. As you're making that playoff run. And I will say this: how long is it for the PUP list? Is it 6 games? I think it's 6 games.
That sounds right.
I think it's 6.
Once we get around week 5, okay, you might want to pick him up if you've got a droppable spot, because around that 6th week, if they do activate him, he will be the hotness on the waiver wire. And you want to be that guy. Everybody knows that guy that you go to and you're like, oh my gosh, let me go get this boy. And then they Google him like, somebody picked him up a week ago. And you're like, crap.
I think that's the part that makes me upset about playing Dynasty. Because I go look at a guy and I'm like, of course he's already gone. Of course.
Oh, in our Dynasty League, you like that little Alfred Morris pickup? Oh, no, that was a different Dynasty League. I literally picked up Alfred Morris the week before Jared McKinnon gets hurt.
Nice.
Which we'll talk about, I guess, next.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So I wish that whenever you auto draft, you could put a guy you don't want to pick up. Like, you could tell the auto draft system, do not pick this guy under any circumstances.
Wow.
But they always do it. And I had to auto draft and get Jerick McKinnon. And I was so upset about it. And then 3 days later, they're like, yep, tore his ACL. I was like, yeah.
Wait, was that the draft that Jonathan was supposed to draft for you?
Yeah. And then he told me he couldn't get on. And then he got on later and said, hey, man, your team looks pretty good.
Nick was like going out of town so he couldn't draft. Jonathan was supposed to draft for him. He did not. Good job. Hey, it's better than remember Mitchell Renz came down that one time.
Yeah, we were having some beers.
And he's like, hey guys, by the way, at 8 o'clock I need to draft for my father. He goes, he's in this like $1,000 league. And he goes, oh, okay. He looks at his phone at 8 our time, and goes, I forgot about the time change. And I was like, what does that mean? He goes, that means we auto-drafted. And I was like, man. I was like, he steps aside, and he, like, texts his dad. He was like, so he's pissed. I was like, yeah. $1,000 league, and you auto-drafted? Bruh.
Yeah.
I mean, some people all the time, like, they'll message us, like, hey, you want to get in on a league? Well, how much is the buy-in? $500. And we're out.
No.
It's like, hashtag poor life, dog.
This is my favorite time of year, though, because I get in this DraftKings set with my dad's friends.
Yeah.
They love to gamble. They do it on golf. They do it on NASCAR. Everything.
They gamble on gambling.
Yeah.
Who's going to win this
They
gamble?
gamble on the over-under gamble. Like, what's the over-under going to be?
Wow.
So, last time I did this, I played 3 weeks, and I won like $120. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be done for now. I'm gonna take all this money. This year, I'm just going to play it the entire year, and just
Wreck face.
I'm going to fly down with the money I made, and then I don't know.
Throw the rest at him.
Yeah. Here you go.
Look, Ma, no hands.
So,
Anyway.
So I guess let's come back to the 49ers. I've seen Matt Breida
Alfred Morris.
or Alfred Morris. Those are the two people I've heard the names of.
Alfred Morris.
John says Alfred Morris. What about in PPR formats?
Alfred Morris.
Okay.
I think that it's maybe going to be a two-headed monster.
Well, I mean, I know it will be a two-headed monster. It's just which one will have more carries.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that we tweeted this out. We said with Jared McKinnon missing time, running back are grabbing off waiver wires. And why? This bad boy got about 1,700 votes. So a few votes.
A couple.
And Alfred Morris won it at 59%. But I will say Matt Breida was taking first-team snaps in practice today. I think that Breida could be like the pass-catching role and Alfred Morris between the tackles. Now, Jonathan's already talked about his case for Alfred Morris, his love for him, about how he has worked in Kyle Shanahan's offense before, yes.
In office.
They work together. Hey, you got any more W-2s for him? Yeah, bud. And like hands them. All right, anyways. But no, so I picked up Alfred Morris off the waiver wires in my redraft league, my work redraft league. I have more belief in a between the tackles. I just can see a way of him Alfred Morris has always been a pretty good running back when he got the chance. And if he can be the goal line back, which I think he could be, there's more upside for that. Now, I will say, and like Nick said, in PPR, it's closer. If you're playing a standard league, like you're some kind of dinosaur and you still do that, then yeah, I think Morris is hands down. If it's PPR, it's a little bit harder for me. If you got the room, roster both. If you can get both, I think one of them will become more relevant than the other.
So where do you want to take them? Or what comparative value do you have for Morris as far as other running backs? Lamar Miller? You put him close to a Lamar Miller at all?
I want Lamar Miller way more.
Okay, Jay Ajayi?
Oof. Oh, I want Jay.
Okay.
I want Jay just because I feel like Corey Clement is such more of a second fiddle than Matt Breida and Alfred
Kenyon
Morris.
Drake.
Oh, I want Drake.
Okay. Even though they're supposed to split carries with the Immortal?
Well, no, I don't believe it. I think that Frank Gore is going to have a few carries, and I think that he's locker room support, but I don't.
All right, Marshall Falk.
Well, being that Marshall Falk will not play a snap of football this year.
Oh, yeah. Going to.
All right.
So
how about this? I
the
got a better one. Okay. Do you want Alfred Morris or Adrian Peterson?
Oh, Alfred Morris.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that change? Do you believe that Rob Kelly has that backfield?
Not really. I don't think he controls it. I think it's very much shared, but he controls the majority share. That being said, that's like 35%.
All right, one last one. Alfred Morris or Matt Breida, I don't care which one you flip around, or Nick Chubb, because they're going right next to each other in ADP currently.
I have to go Alfred Morris.
Okay, one last one, because this one's really interesting to me. He's been getting a lot of flack, even from us, but Ronald Jones. I've been seeing him getting dropped on. He is a trending person that is getting dropped off waiver wires. I'm not making this up.
I can
Dropped
see
off of
why.
So Alfred Morris or Ronald Jones?
Alfred Morris.
Alfred Morris.
Okay.
I'm going to go Ronald Jones. And the only reason why is because it's because, listen, this is a 10th, 11th round. This is somebody who's not starting for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the value of them, but
what I'm
comparatively,
saying,
who do you want? Like,
I just
if
feel
they
like
had the same value.
They do have the same value. What I'm saying is that Ronald Jones, both of them are taken really late. I'm going to take the one that I feel like has the most upside. To me, Ronald Jones, if he does beat out Peyton Barber, he has the most upside.
Here's a question.
I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I see where you're all coming from.
Joe Mixon or Alfred Morris in redraft?
Joe Mixon.
Why?
Because he's more talented running back. Like, I really do believe that. And I know that you hate. Listen, I know you hate him.
Stats
saw the
tell
video
otherwise.
Thing. That's great.
Alfred Morris had 4.8 yards per average last year, or per carry, and Joe Mixon had 3.5.
But and Melvin Gordon had 3.8. Your point? You're trading Alfred Morris for Melvin Gordon? Yards per carry, I've said this a million times. Yards per carry do not denote fantasy success. Yards per carry denote whether or not you keep a job. If you are not being productive in yards per carry, then you will lose a job. But Melvin Gordon kept the job because they have no one else behind him, and so he keeps doing it. He gets opportunity after opportunity, volume after volume. So, I mean, I love 4.3 for Alfred Morris to let me know that he's probably going to get that job. That's fantastic. He probably may beat out Matt Breida. But I'm not going to relate that to fantasy success. They've actually done statistical studies. It's like it's a 23% correlation between yards per carry and, fantasy success. I mean, I don't care about his yards per carry. I care about his fantasy success. And
Okay.
I think that Joe Mixon could be more successful.
So there's one guy we didn't put on here that I read about on the way back home. Chris Carson is listed as the Seahawks' number 1 running back right now.
I will take Alfred Morris over Chris Carson. But the reason is I think that Chris Carson will do better these first couple of weeks. I really just think that's Penny's job. I don't feel like even if it's not Penny's job, they're going to let him get the volume for a handful of weeks before they declare it's not.
Okay.
I just feel like they bought a new car. It's their first round pick, and then they're not going to drive it. Are you kidding me? Like I know he's a little banged up, but I feel like Penny's going to be coming in there, and whether he takes all of it or not.
I think the Seahawks will end up having 4 injured running backs by the end of the year, and Des Bryant will be their starting running back.
I know. I saw Jared McKinnon go down. And I was like, Des Bryant's looking at his phone like, I mean, maybe. I never run before, but I do it now, dog.
So, Tyler,
let's move on.
You can talk about the next one because this hits home for you.
So this is actually kind of a dual, like, Khalil Mack went to the Bears, and we took some listener questions, and this was one of them. They said, do you feel like the Bears made a good decision? I feel like they paid too much, blah, blah, blah. Here is my take. I first off think that the Raiders are silly for letting him go. I'll just be honest. Like, I know he wanted an extension, but you got to pay people that are really good at their job.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack he's just a generational defensive player. He really is. Like, I'm sorry, he just is. Now, everybody says, oh, the Bears paid two first. The Bears paid two first. What they also don't know, and if you're not looking at the details, they got a second back, and they switched to 5th and a 6th. So the Bears went from a 5th to a 6th. The Raiders, went to the 5th. But really, to me, when I say I sent 2 first, but we got a second back, really we just switched to 1st and a 2nd. So we traded a 1st, switched to 1st and a 2nd, and switched to 5th and a 6th. And we paid him. But here's my thing.
And that's the big part, the money.
The money. That is the only part I'm upset with. The picks, I'm not. I'm going to be honest with you. I saw a tweet, and I wish I could give it credit for, is they said how many franchises would give up their last year's first-round picks for Khalil Mack. And it was like 90% of you would say yes because of how much first-round picks bust. I mean, the Bears' first-round picks, Mitch Trubisky, which I'm okay with, Kevin White.
Josh Allen.
And that, exactly. That's the thing.
Just joking.
First-round picks are nice and all, but when you have, just think about it the same way. When you're talking about generational talent, we do a lot of dynasty in the offseason. If you're listening to this and you're a redraft player, stay with us out on the offseason. We do dynasty. And that's what I think what we bring different than other podcasts. Listen, I love all these other redraft podcasts. They're great guys. I'm sure you listen to others. But one thing that they don't bring is they don't bring this depth of knowledge. We know a lot of, like just in depth. And in dynasty, you could trade rookie picks. Would you trade 2 first-round rookie picks for generational talent in a dynasty league?
Well, it's like saying
I would.
Would you trade 2 first-round picks for Saquon Barkley or like Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, that's a little shallow. I'm well aware. For those of you listening, like, that's not exactly. I know it's not exactly right. But if you also think about it too, like your first-round pick in a dynasty league is 1 of 12. Theirs is 1 of 32. So I like what the Bears are doing. Listen, they paid him a lot, and Jonathan voiced his concerns. Us privately talking, we paid Allen Robinson, we paid now Khalil Mack. Jordan Howard's going to want a contract. Mitch Trubisky's going to want a contract. We paid Trey Burton, but listen, good teams do that. They ride the cap. There's a reason why the Steelers are as good as they are. They were going to pay.
Yeah, and the Eagles.
Bill.
They're over for next year. Yeah, they're going to have to cut something.
There is a reason we have to pay people that are good. The Bears have done what with John Fox the last 2 or 3 years? What have we done?
Lose.
We got lucky with Jordan Howard. We drafted Mitch Trubisky in a terrible way by moving up, and we've done nothing since. And I'm just happy we're doing something. I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm not saying the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. I would love them to, but I don't think so. But I'm just happy for it, and I'll get off my tangent. We can just move on. And the last little bit of news has something to do with the Raiders, too.
Yeah, it's Martavius Bryant was dropped. How much of this do you think is skill? How much of this do you think is Gruden just being upset with his work ethic?
I don't know.
I think a lot of it just has to do with will he play? I mean, he's facing
I was
another
wait-
drug charge.
I'm not gonna lie though, I was low key kind of waiting for the Patriots to pick him up. Patriots have a wide
No,
receiver situation.
Billy couldn't deal with it.
I just don't know why.
That's true.
Why anybody would pick him up? You don't know if he's going to play.
I mean, you can pick me up. I'll play
Put me in,
You have
coach.
You have a better chance.
for at least one play until I get hit by one person. I'd be like, I'm out, coach. Put me on IR, bro.
I just don't want to be a lineman. They put up with so much.
Dude, I wouldn't want to do any of that. The only thing I could do would I'd be a punter.
Because they can't hit you.
Yeah, just fall on the ground. Someone gets near me, just fall.
Less stress than a kicker. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the game's never on me.
What
just
about
punt
a
it.
long snapper?
No, see, there's too much stress there too.
Okay, all right.
Because if I snap it wrong, everybody goes, "Oh, look at this terrible, crappy guy." If I snap the ball wrong for the game-winning kick, not a punter, I could literally just punt this thing right out of bounds and be like, "Oh, my bad, guys," and like just get
Oh,
off the
no.
field. Yeah, like, oh, ain't that a shame?
Hey,
What do I
man.
do at practice? Just punt? Just show up to practice and be like, "What do you do?" I
You
punt.
stretch and you punt.
What you been doing? I've been stretching for 4 hours.
I have to be able to kick myself in my face with my knee.
Yeah. Then what are you doing after that? Leg day. What are you doing after that? More leg day. I mean, just.
I've seen some pretty built punters with the arms.
I mean, my thighs would look like freaking Mrs. Incredibles. I mean, just thick, dog.
Jonathan, what are you looking at? You look like you're thinking.
He's looking at a picture of Miss Incredible. You know that's why you went to go see the Incredibles too.
So,
She just stretches.
a guy that we haven't really no one has really given a lot of
Wait, she can stretch that?
praise to, I guess is the word. Or no, they just have devalued him, in my opinion, in redraft, not dynasty. But with Martavis Bryant gone, let's go back to our mindset when we thought he was going to be something with the Raiders, like he was going to play a role in that offense. Looking at the Raiders' depth chart, Derek Carr threw 530, 540 passes last year, 22 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards. This is their receiving core. Jordy Nelson, Amari Cooper, and Jared Cook. The next guy up, Seth Robertson, Dwayne Harris. I mean, so to me, Jordy Nelson, Amari Cooper, Jared Cook.
Jordy becomes interesting.
I just got done with a dynasty draft, and yeah, he dropped a lot further than he should. But I picked Jordy Nelson up in I think close to the 20th round.
The 28th.
Yeah, because he's old, and I get it, but you're talking about a guy. Yes, he had Aaron Rodgers, but you're talking about a guy who is experienced in the red zone, and he can still ball. I mean,
Can he fly into the danger zone?
Oh my gosh.
Fly into
this is why our episodes are so
the
long.
danger zone.
We've been recording for 2 hours now.
You know
All
how
right.
hard it is to edit 2 hours of audio?
Do you know?
It's not really.
I wanted to say it. I can't. It's a family show. All right, let's keep going. Let's get into some listener questions that we got for the day. We'll also talk about our Super Bowl predictions. What?
The franchisees' questions.
So, which one do you want to talk about first? Super Bowl?
Yeah, let's start about the Super Bowl. So we like to, we play fantasy football, but we also just enjoy watching football. That's kind of why we got into it.
It's pronounced football.
Football. Okay, so let's talk about our predictions, if you will, for this year's Super Bowl and who's going to win. What are two teams that you feel like are going to the Super Bowl, and then the two teams going to the Super Bowl, and then the one winning it? Either one of you got your answer? And please, for the love of God, do not say your team. I'm looking at you, Jonathan.
I mean, when you're right, you're right. Right? That's like
my
saying
gosh.
2 plus 2 and please don't say 4. Whatever.
I'll put our league fees that they don't even go to the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say
I'll pick
the
that bet with you.
Vikings and the Jaguars.
Okay, I like that.
Gotta have a Super Bowl quarterback to go to the Super Bowl, brother.
I mean, they almost did last year.
is a Super Bowl quarterback.
I mean, they did last year though. Like literally, they were right on the brink. They almost beat the Patriots, and I honestly believe that if Blake Bortles or the coaching staff didn't take a knee that second half when they were up, if they just would have came back at the Patriots, I think they would have won. Like they got ahead of the Patriots and then they put it on cruise control, and I'm like, you cannot put it on cruise control.
I just don't think that they
Patriots.
have the offense to sustain it. I mean, I like Leonard Fournette, but I really think that's as far as it goes.
So
this year.
So like the Cowboys.
what I'm going to say to that,
slightly different.
what I'm going to say to that is the Buccaneers. I mean, they're a team I've probably seen the most of. In the Super Bowl they won in 2002, had a terrible offense.
Yes, agreed.
And one of the top 5
Agreed.
defenses in history.
Yep. 100%.
Their defense won the Super Bowl. Their defense scored 2 or 3 of the touchdowns.
I've seen. I love the Bears. I wasn't 1985, but they were named monsters of the Midway. Their offense was good, but it wasn't the end all be all. It was mostly Walter Payton, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was a running back and defense. I mean, I'm just like.
So I'm going to say the Vikings
It
win
can
it,
happen.
but it's going to be the Vikings and Jags.
Okay, I like that. I will actually. I'm keeping. No, I'm not keeping any of that crap. No, I am. I'm keeping the Vikings. I really like the Vikings. I know that as a Bears fan, that hurts me to say, but they have a lot going for them. I think Dalvin Cook going down hurt. I think them getting a real quarterback. Not that Case Keenum isn't, but I mean, Kirk Cousins is a huge upgrade for that offense. And their defense, if they can keep it nice and tight, they didn't have a whole lot of coaching leave.
Yeah, keep it tight.
Like the Eagles do, and other like really big teams that went further. I really like the Vikings, and I think they're going to play the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I do. I think that the offense there is hot drop and popping. I think that with the addition of James Washington over Martavius Bryant, who's actually going to play and have the desire to win, and I think the Steelers are going to get that defense a little bit more together. In saying all this, I think that the Vikings beat them out. I think this is the year for the Vikings. What don't they have? I mean, really, like, just on paper, what don't they have?
I definitely see the Steelers being able to get there, and I just don't know if their team is complete enough to get there. Their offense is the same thing. They have a great offense. I mean, yes, they have had James Washington. Martavius Bryant is gone. That is a step up. But, I mean, they're definitely going to have to fix the defense. And, I mean,
I would throw another AFC,
another
AFC team. I love the Jaguars. Another person I really like is the Chargers. I feel like they're a darker horse. They're Chargers.
Call Phillip Rivers. He would love to hear you say that.
I feel like they finally started getting together. Mike Williams on the rise. They just signed Antonio Gates. And I don't know.
That's actually his name. Antonio Gates.
Greats. They're okay.
What do you got, John?
Thank you, Tony the Tiger.
I'd probably have to go with.
And let's not forget the Patriots. I mean, they're always
I'm an underdog kind of guy.
I was going to say, I think the Patriots return again. I don't think the AFC is a talented division this year. Okay, let me.
I was like, man, you just like pissed off 16 teams, and
I feel like they're talented amongst themselves, but I think when you compare it to the NFC, I think it's oddly lopsided.
I agree. I mean, I think the Lions look good this year. Packers look good this year. Vikings. I mean, and I'm not just saying this, but the Bears. I mean, the NFC North is a mosh pit right now of pretty good teams. You add in the Panthers, the Saints. I really like as a dark horse. I think the Giants get together. The Eagles. I mean, there's a lot of really good teams in the NFC this year.
I think it'll be the Packers versus the Patriots.
I mean, I like it. I mean, I think the Packers are in line too. I think that they, have improved. They're going to improve that defense as well. So, all right, let's move on to some listener questions we had. I tweeted this out. The first one is that I thought was kind of interesting, and we're just going to sum it up really quick. Is we're going to be talking about what are some teams that you want nothing to do with as far as fantasy goes. So what are some teams that you just seem to be avoiding? We've talked about this a little bit in the past. Maybe we can each just kind of pick one team and then just kind of go.
Redskins.
Okay, so the Redskins. Why the Redskins, Nick?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So,
okay,
we have Alex Smith, who was fantastic last year, fantasy-wise. But he also doesn't have the same weapons he had last year. Now let's go back a little bit.
No.
He threw like one touchdown to a wide receiver. Actually, did he have a whole year we didn't throw a single touchdown to a wide receiver?
No, it wasn't a whole year. It was like 9 or 10 games.
Oh, so it was only 9 or 10 games.
Only 2/3 of a season.
Then we have Jordan Reed, who will probably play 25% of the season, maybe 50. I would put money on that.
Okay.
And then we have a running back situation, which who knows what's going on. Is it going to be Adrian Peterson? Are we going to have Rob Kelly? Is Chris Thompson actually going to be the better back to own there? Probably Chris Thompson's the only one I want. I look through the teams. There's like one person on every team I wouldn't mind. I just don't really want Washington.
Yeah, Crowder's the only one that Crowder and Thompson. Chris Thompson are the ones that interest me. I really like Chris Thompson. I know everybody wants to hand that to Fat Rob, but last year when he was healthy, now that's a big asterisk, healthy, he was doing work, and I think that he is a sneaky,
gotta go to work,
sexy flex play, baby, just sexy. So I like that. Jonathan, you got a team that you're just kind of meh?
There's no team that I absolutely don't want anyone from.
Probably the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're too good.
Yeah, you want to have that advantage over people,
I mean, the Bills would probably be the closest, but I mean, even then,
It's like LaShawn
I like
McCoy,
shading.
though. Yeah.
I mean,
Outside
There
of
was
that,
always
though,
one player. Charles
Yeah.
Clay's a possibility.
that ruins it for the rest of us. I'll tell you mine. Okay, I like the Bills. I'll tell you mine. I know I've been singing the praises of Isaiah Crowell, but just to be honest, the Jets scare me. Robbie Anderson with a possible suspension. Jermaine Kearse was a sneaky kind of grab, late pick. He's just had surgery. Sam Darnold's going to get this start. I don't know how a rookie is going to do underneath all this and all the pressure. I like Isaiah Crowell, but realistically, Bilal Powell did look good in the preseason. So is this like a 50-50?
I think Bilal Powell is actually ranked higher now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and then the wide receiver core. Some people scream, Quincy and Nunwa, but it's like, do you really feel good playing Quincy and Nunwa? Like, okay, you draft him. Are you putting him in your starting lineup?
In my 14-team league, maybe.
14-team league, we start 17 people. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
I like Quincy anymore.
I like him too. Play him. Play him in one league. Because I'm in 15 leagues. I own a handful of Quincy and Nunwa. Haven't started them yet. I mean, I'm just like, not that I don't see upside. There could be upside, but I just.
Well, I mean, I can see what you haven't
name a
started
Jets
him,
player
though.
you're excited to play. Name one.
Quincy anymore.
You're excited to play him.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We play each other in our league of record. I will give you Quincy Nunwa. You can have him, but you must start him. Find a spot.
Every week.
Every week.
Not every week, but I will say,
Even his bye week.
the Jets have one of the best strength of schedules there is.
I don't know. I understand, but if you just told me to pick somebody, I'm not going to sit here and say there's no one. I'm just saying, like.
And they've got to score touchdowns. I mean,
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, there's every single one of these teams. Like, okay, the Dolphins, there's some people, I do like Kenyon Drake. The Bills, I like LaShawn McCoy. But I get to the Jets, and I'm like, who am I starting?
you got another listener question?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got at least one
If not,
more.
just make up one.
So we can get through 2.
3.
All right, so stacking wide receivers from the same team. How do you feel about that, and do you start them? Is there any stacks that you would do?
Absolutely.
All right, well, what are they, Jonathan? That's what they're here for. Not just for you to say yes. Yes, next question.
As with a lot of my answers, there's always caveats to that. But there's not a specific wide receiver core in my stacking. It's more or less like we were talking before the show
The Vikings?
on how you pick who you're going to play. And it just depends. I mean, one big thing that I like to do is I like to look at Vegas odds and see what the over-under is. How many points are going to be scored in this game? If it's not a lot, then
Don't want none if you got no buns,
stack.
hon.
If there's for instance, if you don't got a lot of money, don't go out and get 2 bills. Just pay 1 bill, right?
Don't want none
And
if you got no buns.
So, okay, for instance, well, Jonathan, what about week 1? Quit beating around the bush. Okay, you got it. Wide receiver stack that I'm going week 1, Traquan Smith and Michael Thomas.
Okay.
I like it because
A deep pick.
they play the Bucks. The Bucks finished 31st against the pass last year, giving up 23.99
Strong.
points to the wide receiver each week on average. I like it. I mean,
We'll
All
show
right.
you all.
So let me ask you about this, though. Drafting. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you drafted this. You had some great value. Stephon Diggs going in the third round, beginning of the third. Let's say somehow Adam Thielen fell to the fourth because of his injury.
no.
Are you playing both of those
No.
week one? Why not?
Okay, so you're saying what? You're not asking if I would have
If
drafted
you have them both.
If
will
somehow
you
I
play them?
acquired both of them over time.
Or let's say there was a trade. I mean, you just
You
got a
have
good
them
deal.
both. Is this a stack you'd be comfortable starting?
Yes. The 49ers finished 21st against pass defense, or was the 21st ranked pass defense last year, giving up 20.83 points. The over-under of that game is 46 points, and the Vikings are favored by 6. So 46, we know that they're at least going to
26
have
points.
26 points.
That's
So
what Vegas is
26
saying.
points, we're looking at least 3 touchdowns. It's
And it's not always about the touchdown. It's sometimes volume. Adam
Yeah.
Thielen doesn't get a whole lot of touchdowns necessarily, but he gets a lot of volume. I mean, in PPR formats, that's a factor. Okay, so I like that. Start him on the 49ers, but more of a broad question. Are you okay? So someone sends you Adam Thielen for dirt, or a trade you feel comfortable with. You already own Stephon Diggs. Are you okay owning both of those players and starting them?
Yes, but it's not a week by week. It has to be based on matchup. Just because they're two big
Well, then
names.
if you have a bad matchup, then who do you sit? Thielen?
Are we? If it's if it's the first week and there's a bad matchup automatically, I mean, you have to go. Like for me personally, I think Diggs is a safer wide receiver right now, so I go Diggs. If we're talking about past week 3, people usually say that week 3 is the point that stats are in, and you can start going by statistics, not just feeling. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all these defenses,
Yeah.
but they change all the time.
Yeah, so week 3 and on, you have to go with who's doing the hottest, who's getting target share, who has the best catch percentage, where is Kirk Cousins targeting them? I mean, how are they fitting in the game script?
I will say this. I am okay with it. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, though, this is my point. They are going to score those points whether or not you started them or you did not. Last year, I had one redraft league. I rode Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara to the championship. I started both of them. Like, just both. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds crazy, but one was like the running back 5 that week, and the other was the running back 7. How do I bench that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and then they did it the first week, and I was like, wow, okay. Played them again. They did it the second, and I was like, so we just ride this train? Like, last year, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs did what they do regardless. Now, I am not looking for this. I'm not going and drafting this. But if I get a deal, if I get a trade, if I'm drafting and I'm getting insane value on,
Yeah.
I mean, I got to draft the best player. I don't care what team they're on. I have to draft the best player.
I mean, last year they finished wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. So,
Yeah,
I mean, knowing what they did last year, I may, like I said, depending on the matchup, which is the 49ers, I could feel comfortable starting them as long as I don't have a lot of other options. Now, here's an example of when I would not feel comfortable stacking 2 receivers because I don't know the stats.
yeah.
I don't even know who they play. It doesn't matter. At this point, let's say I had Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods or Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp. I don't know how they play together. I don't know how Jared Goff targets them in that system. I don't know how they're used. Just like when Brandon Cooks went to the Patriots. If you would have had, let's say
Julian Edelman didn't hurt himself.
Yeah, Julian
He played
Edelman and Cooks.
And Edelman.
You wouldn't, in theory it sounds good, but if you would have played them, you would have been disappointed.
All right, last one. Because I think some people may see this because they're drafted both high. Do you play Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
In that game particular.
And not next week. We'll talk
In
about
general? No.
I'm talking about like you just get a trade for Jarvis Landry that's a good trade in your favor, but you own Josh Gordon. Do you accept knowing that you have both Browns wide receivers?
No.
Okay. This is the lesser question. I thought it was a great question. I thought it was something that was interesting. I personally probably would not. If I did accept it, I would be trying to move one or the other. And I would try to be moving it quickly. Whoever you believe in the most. I'm not a believer that both of these guys are going to be amazing fantasy assets. I get it. I get the argument. I got actually in a conversation on Twitter, a really good intellectual conversation about Anthony Callaway, about how he's getting a start and how he's supposed to be, first round, second round talent if he wasn't dealing with his off-field issues. And people were saying that, they like him in Dynasty and da-da-da. And it's like, I like his talent. And people say, well, believe in his talent. But I also believe in the talent of Josh Gordon. I believe in the talent of Jarvis Landry. I believe in the talent of Nick Chubb. I believe in the talent of Carlos Hyde. I believe in the talent of Duke Johnson. I believe in the talent of David Njoku. Like, there's so much. I believe. Just do it. Make dreams come true.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Why have we not added onto our soundboard is beyond me. Nick,
it
what are
takes
you
time.
doing? You take time. All right, so I think we answered that.
Before we get out of here, I want to talk about our sponsor, Hall of Breaks. We got a new giveaway, and you can learn about it. But Hall of Breaks is the newest memorabilia available, from recent signings and hot rookies to new products with classic players. First-round picks to Hall of Fame standouts, the best products around are in the Hall. Daily chances to win prizes with a new series every week. Products from full-size replica and authentic helmets to minis and blaze, ice, speed, and other popular styles. There is some risk involved in this game of chance, so be sure to read all the rules of the page or contact the page admin with any questions. Hall of Breaks is more than just a prize page. It is a community of dedicated collectors and lovers of the game.
Absolutely. And guys, guess what? Competitive pricing here. Best value. Tamper-proof boxes, so you know everything's legit. Live prize drawing to get that heart racing, boy. And guess what? When you win, when you're winner chicken dinner,
One day shipping.
One day. Not 2 days. That's too much.
What?
One
and
day.
You know what? Because they're so generous, we're giving away a mini signed Deshaun Watson helmet.
Absolutely, guys. Check out our Twitter page. I tweeted that out. There's just a few things you got to do. Follow us on Twitter at F3Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube.
Check out Hall of Breaks.
And check out Hall of Breaks.
So when you say mini signed, is it a miniature signature?
Yes, a tiny
Or is
signature.
it
It's both.
Or is it a
It's
miniature
both.
helmet?
It's a miniature helmet signed by Deshaun Watson.
So he didn't write in like really fine penmanship, just like along the
They came up, hey, can you literally just as tiny as you can get
He
it?
T-Rexed it.
Baby. And I'll say this, hey, we'll put the giveaway in the comments of this as well. Before we leave, though, we got to talk about the waiver wire pickups just a little bit.
That's next episode, isn't it?
No, it's this one.
episode.
Yeah. I mean, you got to cut the man short.
How we got waiver wire pickups? We
got
just drafted.
We did. And so we'll do these really quickly. Next week, we're doing 2 a week now. We'll do more of recaps and waiver wire pickups on Tuesday's episode. Starts and sits and everything else like that. Some games on Thursday's episode. Those are kind of our 2 episodes. So just really quick, James Conner's been getting a lot of noise.
Le'Veon Bell possibly not starting. I don't know.
He's not reporting the game.
I would be so pissed.
We had somebody.
Oh, he's gonna be there.
We had somebody follow us as a Twitter account called "Did Le'Veon Practice?" And all it tweets out is if he practiced or not. And
It's
he
gold.
I almost wanted to follow
It's
him because
gold.
it said on there like, I don't know, haven't found out yet. That's what he literally just tweeted out like at 8:00 this morning, and I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
That's all. The whole Twitter. I'm here for one reason.
Yeah.
Did Le'Veon Bell practice?
And then there's the obvious pickup of Matt Breida and Alfred Morris.
We
because,
talked about both of those.
Yeah, because injured ACL.
Chad Williams,
Chad Williams is
wide
out.
receiver, which everyone drafted Christian Kirk. He's going to be the guy over Christian Kirk according to
Apparently
depth chart.
the depth chart, yep. And we'll talk about their matchups on the next episode. Another waiver wire pickup, Jordan Wilkins is supposedly getting the start. We're not sure about Marlon Mack and his injury yet.
And if he's on your waiver wire, boo on you. Because for months now, I've been saying Jordan Wilkins. Go back, watch or re-listen to the episodes.
Gotta go back
Nick all the
in
time would say
time.
Marlon
Yeah.
Mack, and I'd say, what about Jordan Wilkins?
He would also say, what about Naheem
Marlon
Hines?
Mack. No, go back and listen.
Oh, I
Prove
remember.
it to me. Prove it.
I'm not
no,
gonna go
I
listen.
said, what about
Pictures or it
Jordan
didn't happen.
Wilkins?
Pictures or it didn't happen. What does that even mean?
Jordan Wilkins.
All right. Anyways, one last thing we also like to
Jordan.
talk about. Guys, go every week. I want to start now because but people are making moves right now. They're dropping people. check and see what people are dropping. Last year, I picked up Evan Ingram off the waiver wires because someone dropped him last year. And I know what you're saying. Wow, that's crazy. But back then, he was just a stream. People just thought, oh, he had one good game, and then he kind of had like a game, and I'm going to drop him for another streamable option. I got Evan Ingram, ran him to the championship. You'll be surprised what people drop.
Yeah.
And so some people that are dropping right now, according to trending, SleeperBot and NFL and those different apps, Ronald Jones is dropping off waiver wires. If you have a deeper bench, I feel like that's wrong. I feel like we have to see this guy in real thing. RSJ, Ricky Seals-Jones, I think is a great streamable option. We'll talk about our streams of the week next episode. Cameron Brate, I love Cameron Brate, but I understand Ryan Fitzmagic.
I
Ryan
think
Fitzmagic.
O.J. Howard has been getting better.
And O.J. Howard has been getting dropped, too. He is a trending person to be starting to get dropped.
Really?
And then, of course, our man Martavius Bryant.
Oh, why?
Without a team.
Why?
I know, why?
It's like dropping Des Bryant.
The
What's
number one
point?
drop, I know this surprises you all, was Jarrett McKinnon.
I dropped him.
Yeah, I mean,
I dropped him.
We need to get, the drop it like it's hot.
I want to get the Shane Bell back on here.
Dude, what are we doing? Why do you all listen to us?
All right,
We
guys.
messed up.
Catch us later in the week. It may be later in the week for you. It's 5 minutes for us.
That's what you say to your wife?
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's faster for me.
That's what I say to her,
Thanks for
too.
listening to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. And follow us at FFBallers.
Sorry, dude.
That's just rude.
We're friends still, right?
I need 5 minutes.